I think I'm gonna buy a new desk.
After scouring the internet far and wide into every niche, category and forum about standing desks, it became clear to me that this was not going to be easy. I did some deep research. I'm talking Pinterest, I'm talking Reddit, I'm talking cool maths games. If you can think it, I was there. But then, I found it. Desking. I had a look through their website and the overwhelming number of positive reviews was astonishing. I've never seen a company receive as much praise as they have. So, I did what any sane man in my position would have done. I bought everything. Standing desk? That's why I'm here. L-shape? Oh, don't mind if I do. A desk for my desk? Yes please. How about a monitor arm? Do you even need to ask? Whatever desk he was cooking up, I ate. And yep, I did it again. Time to wait another month before I can afford food.
So, why did I decide to upgrade my desk? Well, there's two main reasons. The first one, I just needed more space to fit all my accessories, and I have some upgrades planned later in the future, so I just need extra real estate to work with. And the second reason is I'm sitting at my desk all day, so I just need something a little bit ergonomic. Sometimes I do need to stand, get around, get my steps in, and just having a standing desk would really help with that. And before any of you in the comments ask, no, this is not a sponsored video. Everything in this video that you're seeing is out of pocket. Nothing has been sent to me for free. Desky is not telling me what to say or do. These are all my opinions, and it's not like I'm really reviewing the desk. I'm gonna keep it anyway, so there you go. I already have a video on my channel talking about my desk setup, but I think it's time we say a final goodbye. I spent quite a few years during high school and even the first years of university just building this to what it is today, and it's going to be sad to see it go. But I'm happy to open a new chapter in my life, and I can't wait for you guys to enjoy it with me. So now all there's left to do is wait for the packages to arrive. I will see you guys when that happens. Alright, look what came in the mail. Got my packages here, and yeah, I think that is most of what I ordered. So we're gonna try and get this inside my room somehow, and then we're gonna take apart the old setup. So I'll see you there. Now, I'll be honest, I did not confirm the dimensions of the table and if it even fits my room, so I'm still going to take off all the stuff from my old desk and get that out, but we're going to make this fit somehow.
Watching myself unpack the old setup while editing now just makes me realize how fun it was building each component and adding to it every couple of months or so. I feel like every device that I placed in a particular spot spoke to a different part of my character, and I could really see how I was evolving as a person while collecting all of these items. Now, I like it personally because it's a very, very fun hobby. Technology is just ever growing, and it's super duper cool to just immerse myself in an environment where I can use all of it while doing my work and enjoying playing games and entertainment. It's a little bit painful watching myself undo all of the cable management that I spent what is probably years perfecting. There's a subtle art to trying to figure out the optimal pathways for cables when you're given limitations like cable length, thickness, but it's a really good skill to have because I think you can apply all of those spatial reasoning skills to many other areas of your life. That and having clean cables, I think, makes my mind feel at peace, and I can't work if I'm always feeling some anxiety, something gnawing at me, like I need to do something about it. So I think it's worth a try. If your cables are really, really messy, just try clean it up. Even get yourself a thick cable tray, raceways, and hide them out of sight. Once you've managed them all very properly, I think it can make a huge difference to how the aesthetic of your desk looks.
Okay, we're gonna try and undo these cables here. Okay, so let me just undo a bunch of these cables. Start with the power supply for the PC. Ethernet, I'll keep that. Antenna can stay. The auxiliary cable can go. Now we gotta undo the speakers.
It was a huge surprise getting these speakers from Edifier. I got them on sale for like $100, and the richness and the depth of the sound was unbelievable. I wasn't expecting such just a wide stage from such a tiny speaker. And sure, they're no studio monitors, they're not as accurate as some of the higher end models, but this is definitely an entertainment powerhouse. Now, again, not sponsored, but if you do want to grab yourself a set of speakers, I think Edifier has a couple of good models for you to consider. I don't know if it's just me, but recently I started seeing a lot of high quality products from small companies in places like Amazon, Facebook, and just the smaller marketplaces, and I've started to trust them a lot more than the bigger companies that charge outrageous prices for the same things. So it's a really interesting pattern I've noticed.
I'm like putting all of my stuff onto the shelf right now. I really hope I don't lose track of anything, otherwise this is going to be a long day. Also, that's a very nice candle. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, let's keep going. There is a lot to untake here. Initially, I planned to show you every step of the process, unpacking the setup and just getting the space clear, but I realized that's a little bit boring, so I'm just going to skip ahead now and show you the building process. Everyone should try at least a couple of months to build something with their hands. It's one of the most therapeutic forms of leisure, and so much more healthier than the other alternatives that exist. Okay, now assembly process should be quite simple. Now, I know I said the assembly process was supposed to be simple, but it took a little longer than I initially anticipated. Part of the reason why was because I was still unsure where I wanted to place the table in my room, and after a couple of back and forth arguments with myself and yelling at the voices, I came to the conclusion I might as well just have it in the same place my old table was. And all in all, I think it worked out perfectly. Now, about the actual assembly process itself, very, very straightforward. All I had to do was screw in a couple of very well-made bits and use the included hex screwdriver. Everything was doable by hand, but trust me, towards the end of it, I started getting a few calluses and blisters, so I don't recommend just using a hand, and maybe a couple of power tools here and there would help. Initially, I started by attaching the leg to the rail upside down, and then later on I would attach that to the undersurface of the bench top, where I would be forming the main unit by itself, and then afterwards doing the third right return as a separate unit before putting it all together as one piece. As I continued building further into the day, the light outside started to get darker and darker before I couldn't see, and despite that I kept building in complete dark for 30 to 45 minutes before I realized it was quite counterproductive, especially if I wanted to see the end result. So I implemented my own artificial light source from a lamp with a custom light bulb fitting. Now, it has added a little bit of a dramatic cinematic lighting tone, but I'm not too fussed about that. The cable tray management system that came with the Desky was actually quite a lifesaver.
Now, I'm pretty sure it was an add-on, so I did have to pay extra, especially for the integrated powered strips. But ultimately, I think this is better than any cable raceway that you might get from Amazon or other third-party companies. The cable tray is long enough to fit all of the cables plus more, and it is sturdy enough to where it doesn't sag and it doesn't wobble when the table is moving up and down. It also has its own built-in latch mechanism, so I can hang it loosely when I need to make adjustments, and then I can tighten it back up out of sight when I am done. Overall, I think Desky has done a wonderful job with its included accessories and just how it integrates with the main unit itself. Everything has its own spot that's well thought out for both the convenience but also flexibility of whoever's using the table. I saw so many pre-drilled holes that showed that they know the variety of ways that these products can be used, and I really appreciate that from a company. Moreover, from the railways to the legs to just any of the additional things that you can buy, all of them have their own uses, and they've been so well thought out when it comes to the cable management side of things as well that I don't think I would have gone with another company even if they offered a better price. One of the things I value more than anything else is cleanliness when it comes to the product, and when everything just fits together the way Desky makes their products, I think there's no beating it. There's no real surprise why so many people like Desky as well. I also really appreciated how they considered giving more flexibilities with the screws. Specifically, whenever you keep them loose, you still have the ability to just change by the millimeter where you want to position something, and that's honestly so helpful, especially when you're not the most accurate when it comes to piecing together these assembly units by your own. Now, while the initial process of the building was quite manageable on my own, this part, there was clearly a diagram of two people trying to flip the table, which, you know, I consider myself two people, so I tried doing it myself, and let me tell you, this was one hell of a workout. Safe to say, I did not end up going to the gym after I finished building it, but yeah, my muscles are so sore now, even while editing this. If you definitely want a workout, try building a table and then moving it all on your own. One hell of a task.
Okay, so I've officially finished building the main part of the desk, which is the long piece. Now, because my camera is going to die, I'm going to build a short piece off camera, and then you guys can just see me assemble it all together once everything is ready. But I'm really happy with how this is looking so far, and yes, thankfully it has fit into the space.
A few inches later.
Okay, so I've ended up making the third bed there. Making the third leg and put both of the tables together. Took a bit of effort, but I think I managed to get it all done. This was not a one-man job, but I managed to do it, so yay. Now I'm gonna do the cable management and then hopefully get all of my stuff off of my bed and then onto the table. From the bed onto the table. I'm under the table. I'm gonna try and connect that leg all the way over to this motor here, and then this one's already connected, but I think I'm gonna have to connect the controlling box somehow all the way to the main box there, and yeah, I'm gonna use some cable clips just to keep them nice and tidy onto the surface, but hopefully we managed to not spend all night on cable management.
Just with many things in this video, that did not go according to plan either. I think I spent up until 3 AM cable managing everything and getting everything looking perfect because of course I needed to do it in one day. Was it worth it? Yes, but now my entire body aches. My favorite part about building any setup is the cable management, and Desky just made that so much more fun. I mean, it did become a little bit more simplistic just by stuffing everything into the cable raceway, but it wasn't like I had a better solution with a glass table, given I couldn't drill anything either way. And using the included cable zip ties just made everything so much more cleaner.
Okay, so I've completed the desk and it goes up and down. It gets quite tall. I'm like 7 foot tall, and yeah, the desk is almost shoulder height to me. I've spent the last 30 minutes cable managing the desk, and it's looking amazing. I mean, just look at that. Oh, that's amazing. Ooh, very nice.
I know the gimmick of a standing desk is often just that it goes up and down, but my favorite part of the setup is actually the monitor stand itself. I mean, I've had a big desk, but this just opens up a next dimension of space that I didn't even know I could utilize. And just having that extra real estate to not only organize everything, but have it look aesthetic and match the warm tones of the main unit just makes it all the more worthwhile. While the monitor stand was my favorite part of the setup, I think the most underrated would have been the monitor arm itself. Now, I've always had an arm for my second monitor, but it was always a difficulty trying to find the right one for my main monitor, and I didn't even know Desky made such high quality monitor arms. So once I decided to cop the single monitor arm that they were offering, to my surprise, it works surprisingly well with the setup. Now, it gives that floating monitor look to my main setup, and it's very, very flexible. I did have a little bit of difficulties with the tension, because some of the screws were just too tight and it caused some drifting for the monitor, but once I got everything back in balance, it worked perfectly, and I couldn't be happier. One thing I've noticed with recent monitor arms is the size restraints are quite annoying. Even if the build quality is quite good, they're just too short in some of the arms that they have and their height adjustability. So it makes it a little bit hard to choose monitors. Thankfully, Desky's one did fit perfectly, and I'm sure that is by design, but that's just one of my gripes that I have. After a lot of effort, I finally put the monitor on its arm, and it's looking clean. Now we've got the floating monitor effect here. Very, very nice. Now I've managed to put the speakers next to the monitor. Now it actually looks floating because that right speaker is now hiding the monitor arm behind it. So yes, the main monitor is all set. I've decided to keep the second monitor as a horizontal layout because I do use that to preview videos when editing, but maybe I'll get a bigger one. Also thinking of maybe putting a portable monitor somewhere under the monitor there. I say monitor a lot, I'm starting to lose my mind, but we power on. The desk is finally done. Let's see the reveal. Wow. That looks very, very nice. It's exactly how I envisioned it, actually. Now I just gotta add the RGB at the back and we'll call it a day. So that brings us to the end of the setup video. I really hope you enjoyed the entire process. I had tons of fun making this video, and honestly, it looks amazing. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I don't think I'm going to be changing it too drastically from now on, but every few months or so, I will be making a couple of changes here and there, and if you want to stay tuned for that, be sure to subscribe, like the video, share it with friends, save it to a playlist for inspiration, do whatever you want really. But ultimately, this setup will continue to evolve and get better, and I hope the production quality for my videos also follows the same trend. Now, with that, I don't really know how to end this video, so yeah, I'm just gonna go to sleep now because I think I've hit a food coma. Alright, see ya.